Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Square Enix Play Arts Sky Batman Arkham Knight Harley Quinn. So if you guys are familiar with these figures, then you know probably that the Batman and the Robin figure from this game both turned out pretty horribly. And I have to say, while Harley Quinn is a little bit better, still not super great. So let's take a look. She stands roughly about 9 3/4 inches tall, which makes her roughly 24 centimeters, roughly. And she kind of looks good in some places and kind of bad in others. We'll get into that shortly. Let's take a look at the accessories first. First one we get is her baseball bat, which as far as I can tell is 100% inaccurate. I know in game it has the swirly thing on it, but I'm pretty sure the rest of this is not right at all. I don't have the game anymore, so I couldn't check it specifically, but I'm pretty sure this is really inaccurate and it just looks weird. If I'm wrong, then that's fine. Obviously, if it matches the game, that's a good thing. I just don't think it does. So we get that. We also get some interchangeable hands, so you can see on the figure when she comes in the package, she has the loose, relaxed hands, just for kind of general posing. Then we also have a gripping hand for the baseball bat. And if you'll notice, they sculpted the fingernails, but there's no paint on them at all. I don't remember, but I think she's supposed to have painted nails. She also has this hand, which looks like she's supposed to use it to look at her nails, which are not painted. Again, I could be wrong, I can't check. We have this hand, which is just kind of like for a style pose. And we have this hand, which is meant for holding the gun, which is right here. It is painted, so it looks pretty good, nicely sculpted, and it fits in her hand really well. We also get the police officer's hat, which is done pretty nicely. There's nice paint work on it, nice sculpt work. However, it's a little strange. So we have two heads for this figure. One head has the articulated hair. That hair will stay on there. This head has removable hair pieces, which do swivel. We'll get to the articulated part in a minute. These pop off, and you can put on these pieces, which are super slim, so that you can put the police officer's hat on her head. So you get a red one and a black one, and they just pop in like that. One issue with this figure, the faces like to pop off just from handling the figure. So anyway, once we get the face back on, I can show you how the police officer's hat looks. So you can just pop the face in. This front hair can come out, by the way. You can interchange the front hair between the two heads. So if you want the articulated hair and the windswept front piece, you can do that. However, on my windswept front piece, which is on this side, the hair is really tight in there. I think they might have got some glue in there because this one took a little finagling to get out too. Anyway, the police officer's hat, you can see, is kind of carved out, hollowed out in there to fit on the figure's head properly. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get it on there just right. But once you do, it does stay on. It just looks pretty weird. Doesn't look right at all. I don't really get why they bothered doing it if they weren't going to do it right. But whatever, it is included. So back to the two heads. Again, this one has the straight hair in the front. This one has the windswept hair. And this one has the articulated hair with the standard ratcheting ball hinge and pegs. So we have that, red and black. And then these, like I said, these do just rotate around in that peg hole as you would expect any pegged hair to do. We have two different faces. Neither of them look remotely similar to the character's face in game. This one looks particularly unappealing, at least to me. Paintwork is okay, but it just doesn't look good very much at all. She kind of has big ears and just a weird look to her. And then this one, which is supposed to be like kind of a comical look, which at first I wasn't a big fan of it, but it looks better than the other one significantly, so maybe just in comparison I'm starting to like this one. It does look a little bit better and slightly more like the game, but pretty much nothing like the game at all. And on the older figures that was kind of a good thing, but on this one she looked pretty good in game, and this one it's only acceptable. So it's just kind of odd. I mean, the paintwork is good, sculpt is okay, but the way they did that, it just looks a little bit weird. Alright, so let's get into the figure. The paint job on this thing, it's actually pretty good. I mean, they have all the little rivets done and the laces painted. They're shading throughout everything. We have lots of like studs and nice little details throughout. We do have some issue here. I don't know what is going on with these shoulder pieces, but they have kind of like a speckling or I don't know, overspray. Something's going on here where it looks really like a dirty figure, almost like I smoked and threw dirt on this figure at the same time, and it doesn't look very good. We do have some nice shading in the whites though. The line work is for the most part pretty nicely done. Lots of detail, sculpt and paint down here, so that looks good. The legs have shading, and then they have decent paint work also, and this is all sculpted. The boots are well done, except for the fact that she doesn't wear boots like this in game. She wears heeled boots, like high-heeled boots, and this is not anywhere near what they look like, so that's kind of a bummer. The rest of her outfit, it seems to be fairly accurate. It's just not very, I don't know, it doesn't appeal to me. There's something about it. I think it's the boxiness of her torso. It just looks off. And then little things like this, like you can see how this has kind of a really gradual curve, and this is almost a straight angular or angled line. I don't know what happened to these figures. They just aren't as good as they should have been. And her waist is particularly wide. Her hips do flare out, of course, but her waist and upper torso is all the same, or are all the same thickness, and it just throws off the look of the figure a little bit. She kind of has a little bit, and maybe it's just me, I don't know. I'm getting a sort of mannish build, other than the giant boobs, of course. She doesn't have quite the feminine proportions you would expect. I don't know, she's definitely not as bad as Batman or Robin, but she's not particularly good. Let's get that other face on there because that head looks better in general, so let's do that. And while we're here, we can start the articulation. We have a double ball peg for the upper neck. The lower neck appears to be on a single ball peg. It's probably on a double, but it just has pretty limited range of motion. This is a separate piece made to look like it's connected to that necklace collar thing. I don't know. It's okay. It doesn't look bad. Can we get the head connected? I don't know. I haven't done this yet. And there goes the face. I told you the faces love to pop off on this figure. So let's get that head connected. I guess it is. And then we can put the face back on. See, my hair is seemingly glued on. I'm pulling on it and it won't come out. So we're just going to pry it up and stick the face in there. And that'll work. So that does look better. I mean, she's definitely not as bad as the other ones. It's just not great. For the shoulders, we have that ball hinge, the ratcheted ball hinge that pegs into the torso to give us our butterfly movement. So we can go laterally or vertically, but vertically requires the hinge also. And that gives us our bicep swivel up here. We can rotate around that ball peg. And we can also use this bicep swivel down here. So it's technically a double bicep swivel, and we get to rotate this peg of the ball hinge if you want to. And that takes us to the elbow, which gives us our ratcheting ball hinge, and we can rotate in the forearm. The wrist is the same type of joint. It's a ratcheting ball hinge. And the cool thing about this, though, is they did make the little sleeve thing soft and separately sculpted, so it won't get in the way of posing at all. I want to point out here, you guys probably saw my review of the PlayArts Kai Quiet from Metal Gear Solid, and everybody made the big deal about her having squishy boobs, and it turned out that the plastic was more firm than they thought it was going to be, and her squishy boobs barely squished at all. I know some people are saying, oh, there's two different versions. There's not. They're all the same. Some people are just doing it when the figure is warmer so the plastic is more pliable. This figure is not warm at all, and the plastic is super pliable. So if you really wanted squishy boobs, this is the figure for you. And the reason they are squishy is so that you can bring her arm around and help to pose her a little bit. It really doesn't look right, though. It just looks like the plastic is collapsing on itself because well, it doesn't look natural. Let's just put it that way. It does not look proper. Not right at all. It looks better from this side if you want to bring this arm across. But this arm, maybe the plastic's thinner over here. This whole chest piece just kind of collapses and it looks weird. So I guess it's effective, but I don't really see it. It's not working properly. For the torso, it actually has pretty decent range of motion. We can lean really far back. All the way forward, well, not all the way, that far forward. Side to side works pretty well. Full rotation. It feels like it's the old school double ball peg. Let's see if I can see inside and take a look for you guys. It is a double ball peg, which is what Square Enix should stick with. It works so much better than that new ball peg hinge combo that they're using. this works very nicely. I'm quite pleased with that range of motion. The skirt is in 2 pieces, the front and the back, so that won't get in the way of the articulation too much, and it is fairly soft. We have no lower torso articulation on the outside. You do get it down here though. Underneath the skirt you can see, hopefully if I can get the light in there, yeah, you can see the ball peg in there. So that ball peg goes into the torso, and then we have the T-joint where we have the ratchets for the hips, which ratchet all the way out to the side, all the way out to the side, so that's a good thing. And as far as going forward, I haven't tried it yet, let's find out. We can bring the leg almost horizontal, so that's pretty good. She's got good range of motion in the hips, and we do get our little bit of a thigh swivel out of that. Our knee joint is the same joint as the elbow, which gives her good range of motion, and it actually looks pretty good. I think for the thinner legs, that single ball hinge is just fine. Unfortunately, they used a black one on the blue, which works okay due to the shading, but the black one on the red, even with the shading, looks off. For the ankles, we have the same issue. The black joint works okay in the blue, not in the red. For the ankle itself, this upper part of the boot is not movable, at least not on mine. We have the ball hinge, so you can technically rotate it around and get an ankle rocker if you want to, so that's pretty good. It doesn't have the greatest range of motion forward, but it is there, and then back, and then we have a toe hinge, which works pretty well. So I mean, they function, they're just not the right sculpt at all. So this figure, while it does have definitely its fair share of flaws, it's way better than Batman and Robin, and thus far the best figure in the bunch. I will be reviewing the Arkham Knight and letting you know what I think about him, but I have a hunch that this figure is gonna take the cake. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you stick around for the photos at the end here so you can see this figure in action, and make sure you click the thumbs up button if you like this video. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.